Hey, welcome to U.S. History with Lennox. I am Lennox, and we are in the time period 4, which covers the years of 1800 to 1848. Today, our topic of discussion is topic 4.9, the development of an American culture. And we're honestly just going to look at how and why a unique American culture is going to develop between 1800 and 1848. Now, prior to this time, the culture in America was focused primarily on European influences. And if you have any doubts about that, just go ahead and wring out our founding documents. And it's just going to ooze with all these ideas of the Enlightenment and rational thinking. Well, that is going to give way to a new movement called Romanticism, which focuses on feelings and thought. And that will transpire into a huge religious movement in our country called the Second Great Awakening, and a reform movement. But we'll talk about that in a later video. What I really want to focus on today is how the American culture grew and developed through architecture, literature, art, as well as philosophy. So let's start with architecture. Early American buildings were really built in a Georgian style, which was symmetrical and very restrained. Well, that's going to give way in the early 1800s to influences from ancient Greece and Rome, where you can really see those styles come alive in Washington, D.C., especially when you look at the Capitol building with its pillars and rotunda. That is the perfect example of new influences ingraining themselves into the American culture. Literature? Well, we're going to see new American authors come to light and gain popularity. People such as James Fenimore Cooper and Washington Irving. Cooper is going to write The Last of the Mohicans, a fantasy-driven book about the wilderness and the wilds of the American frontier. Whereas Washington Irving will introduce us to Rip Van Winkle and the legend of Sleepy Hollow. Uniquely American views of fantasy. Also in literature, we're going to be introduced to Noah Webster, who will provide us with the American Dictionary of the English Language. From this, though not a fantasy book, what it does is provide a standardized spelling for American words as well as pronunciation. In the field of art, the Hudson River School is going to spring up. This was American artists who wanted to capture the dramatic American landscapes of the wild. They emphasize sentiment and emotion in their paintings, with just a hint of the encroachment of civilization, with the intent of showing how civilization could destroy the beauty of the wild. Now, while their paintings might not ring with pure accuracy, they absolutely created a vision of what the American landscape looked like. Finally, let's talk about American philosophy. We're going to see a new movement during this time called Transcendentalism. It started with a group of New England thinkers who wanted to capture the true romanticism of American nature, as well as how to achieve this level of human perfectibility. One of the founders and most well-known transcendentalists is Ralph Waldo Emerson. Emerson is going to write about the ideas of individualism and self-reliance. His student, Henry David Thoreau, is going to try to test the beliefs of the transcendentalists when he takes up a life in a cabin in the woods and spends 2 years just living the most simple life he can, seeking the truth about life, the universe, and hoping to obtain that level of perfection. All of his experiences in those 2 years that he spent in his cabin, he wrote about in his book, Walden. We're also going to see small groups of people start to move away from society in the attempt to form utopian or perfect societies. One of the first examples of this is the Shakers, a Christian group that created their society in the state of Kentucky. Now, while they lived in an equality-based society, they were not fans of men and women having relations. You know, relations. So it shouldn't surprise you that as they don't have many new members coming in, their society just didn't last that long. Another one you should probably be familiar with is the Oneida community. These folks lived under the idea of perfect equality, both socially and with property. Their marriages and their parenting was all done as a society, so essentially they were all married to each other and they all shared the same kids. Now, understandably, they got a lot of backlash from the society around them, But one thing they did provide for us is a set of really good silverware that helped finance their community for some time. When you start to put all these ideas together, art, literature, architecture, and philosophy, what you're seeing is Americans are working hard to form their own culture, their own values, and their own sense of personhood. They're carving out our identity in the world. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, just post them in the comments below, and we'll see you on the next one.